the Mac Mini came from. Picture this: back in 2005, Apple introduced the Mac Mini as this tiny, affordable desktop that punched way above its weight. It was marketed as the WWDC computer. Bring your own display, keyboard, and mouse, which made it accessible for anyone dipping their toes into the Apple ecosystem without breaking the bank. Over the years, it evolved from those early PowerPC chips to Intel processors, but the real game changer came in 2020 with the switch to Apple Silicon. The M1 Mac Mini was a revelation: silent, efficient, and blazing fast for tasks like video editing, coding, and even light gaming. Remember how it handled 4K video exports like they were nothing? People were ditching their bulky PCs left and right. Then came the M2 in 2023, adding more GPU cores for better graphics performance, and suddenly it was a viable option for artists and musicians using software like Logic Pro or Final Cut. But Apple didn't stop there. The M4 redesign in late 2024 was a total overhaul: smaller chassis, more ports, and that M4 chip that crushed benchmarks. We're talking up to 14 CPU cores and 20 GPU cores in the Pro variant, with real-time ray tracing that made games like Resident Evil look stunning on a mini desktop. It's been a bestseller ever since, powering home offices, servers, and even small businesses. But as great as the M4 is, technology marches on, and that's where the M5 rumors come in. You won't believe how these leaks surfaced. Keep listening, because it's a story straight out of a tech thriller. So, how did we even get wind of the M5 Mac Mini? It all started with some eagle-eyed developers digging into the beta code of macOS 26.4. There, buried in the system files, were references to new hardware identifiers like J873S and J873G, which match what insiders say are the M5 and M5 Pro Mac Mini models. Bloomberg's Mark Gurman, who's basically the oracle of Apple News, confirmed in his newsletter that Apple has slotted the M5 Mac Mini into their 2026 roadmap. No updates in 2025, folks. That means the M4 is the king for now. But the M5 is coming hot on its heels. And get this, there was even an accidental slip in an internal iOS 26 build that listed the M5 Mac Mini alongside other desktops like the iMac and Mac Studio. Apple tried to scrub it, but screenshots were already circulating on forums like Reddit and Mac Rumors. Users on r/Mac Mini are going wild, speculating about everything from port upgrades to AI features. One thread alone has over 500 comments debating the release timing. But why the delay until 2026? Apple's apparently focusing on perfecting the 3nm process with TSMC, their chip manufacturer, to squeeze out every ounce of efficiency. This isn't just hype. These leaks point to real engineering advancements that could make the M5 a beast. And trust me, when we break down the specs next, you'll see why everyone's so excited. Don't go anywhere. This is where it gets juicy. Alright, let's talk specs. Based on these leaks, the M5 Mac Mini is shaping up to be a monster in a tiny package. Starting with the chip itself. The base M5 is expected to use an enhanced ARM architecture on that 3nm node, which means smaller transistors, less power draw, and more performance per watt. Leaked benchmarks from what might be an M5 prototype in a next-gen iPad Pro show single-core scores around 4,133 and multi-core around 15,437. That's a solid 12 to 15% jump over the M4. Imagine rendering a complex 3D model in Blender 15% faster, or exporting a 8K video without your fans spinning up like a jet engine. The GPU is rumored to be up to 36% faster too, with better support for ray tracing and machine learning tasks. For the base model, we're looking at starting with 16GB of unified RAM. Apple's finally ditching the 8GB base, thank goodness, and storage options from 256GB up to 2TB. Ports. Expect at least 5 Thunderbolt ports, with the base M5 sticking to Thunderbolt 4 for speeds up to 40 gigabits per second. Perfect for connecting external drives or monitors. But if you go for the M5 Pro, oh boy, that's where it shines. Leaks suggest 24GB RAM as standard, Thunderbolt 5 for blistering 80 gigabits per second transfers, and possibly even more Ethernet options for pro setups. The design? No big changes from the M4's compact aluminum body. It's staying small, about the size of an Apple TV, with that sleek space gray or silver finish. But inside, it's all about efficiency. Better heat dissipation means it can sustain high performance longer without throttling. Think about running Adobe Premiere Pro for hours on end, or using it as a home server for Plex without it breaking a sweat. And for gamers, with improved Metal API support, titles like Cyberpunk 2077 could run smoother than ever on a Mac. But wait, how does this stack up against the